this. Stuff related to that would be the permeability of space and stuff like that. I don't think I've ever seen that one come up. We've got frequency for a spring. They simplify the Q factor in this course. There's some arguments about how Q factor is measured, but they simplify it in terms of your frequency value, where the natural frequency is going to occur, divided by the difference of the range halfway up. And then I've never really seen this come up in the exam, but we've got Poisson's ratio there, and also some stressor related to film theory. So if you've got a question along those particular lines, you've got to be able to identify the question you want to put down. And the first thing that you want to do in the exam is rewrite out the equation, because you're going to get 1 mark for that without a doubt. So, as I mentioned, these are the 2 documents that they are up in your forum. So we've got one document which goes through the exam questions, the equations, sorry, and this will break down what the various terms are and also where they're first used in your textbook. Okay, I don't really want to, we've gone through the pain of going through them. And the other thing that you want to do is when you're looking at the blocks is make sure that also the titles of each sort of application you've done some notes on, so that you know a little bit about cantilevers, AFM, etching. I'll be very surprised if AFM doesn't come up, or etching. Some of these topics are bound to come up, so make sure that you have a few notes prepared for that.
Iain, are you going to send round the slideshow?
Yes. And other stuff, silicon, being able to describe P-types, N-types. Don't really need to go more into the depth of the physics than that, though. I think full marks in the exam, perhaps maybe making mention in boron, phosphorus, those sort of things. Very high level though, so you don't really need to know. You probably might be able to get away with full marks, not knowing an important factoid like that. But knowing what the different type of, how you use different type of P-type material and N-type material is going to be. Okay, Quinn will talk about this one I think as well. This is quite important, the AFM, force against distance, and being able to describe that this is going to be contact, and you would have non-contact, the different types of modes that you can be operating your AFM at. So for example, you did a question on this in your last TMA, so where would we be doing that thing where we're measuring the mass distance, difference of masses? You were getting your cantilever and I think you were vibrating it. Where would it be in this regime? Would it be here, or do you think out here? You're looking at difference of frequencies.
Close one, because it's tapping, it's frequency in it, and then the forces change it.
You would be wrong.
Right.
Because what you're doing there is you're being non-contact mode, because you're trying to vibrate something. So you don't really want to be playing around with heavy forces as it's coming in. So you're looking at a small change of forces. So that's where you would have your regime there, for example. What you might be thinking about, I think they mentioned this in like one of the the tapes, where they bring it in and they go into this regime and then pull it out and then look at how it's springing around.
Oh, okay.
And I think you might be mixing it up with that kind of concept. Being able to sketch up a thing like this, What's going to be important to get full marks, I think, would be to mention PZT material, you know, how you move your AFM tip around. Describing that the laser comes off, goes up to a photodiode, and that it's going to be operated by a computer. It's absolutely amazing to me that you can put a bunch of PZT material and move your tip of your AFM down to the scale of an atom. That's absolutely what. It's probably not that amazing, because you could say, well, yeah, what is PZT material? It's crystal, and you're applying a force and you're making the atom inside that slightly move. So therefore, of course, it can do it at resolution. But that's an important thing to understand about how that's going to operate. Scaling effects. So scaling effects is a little bit like non-dimensionalization, or non-dimensionality, I should say. Although with nanotechnology, we're only considered the length scales. So it's kind of simplified version of that. And so then you would have, I don't know if you can recall Feynman's talk, and he was then talking about how these scaling effects would start affecting things when you make things down at machine level. So if you take, I don't know, let's say a fly, and it's trying to fly around in the atmosphere. The atmosphere, quote unquote, is not really changing, even down to a micro level. You know, before you start to run into quantum mechanic issues, you're going to have to go really small. So if you've got a fly and it's going around in this air, we are also going around in the air. Okay, so the property of viscosity is in a way independent. However, the scaling of that fly, as you bring it down and you look at things like non-dimensional terms like Reynolds number, then they will have an important effect, but only in the sort of the length scale aspect of it. The Q factor I mentioned. You get a question like that. Did we have a one in there? I think we did, didn't we? So this isn't going to come up, so let's skip it. They shouldn't really over-assess you.